Okay, so the next game we're going to talk about this week is Taluva Deluxe Edition, which came out in 2015. It's ages 8 and up. Number of players 2 to 4, 45 minutes. Its BGG rating is an 8.0 out of 10, and its overall ranking is 2,512 out of over 15,000 games. So, again, this is the Deluxe Edition.
Right.
The regular edition actually has better rankings.
Oh.
So this that edition is much older.
Oh, okay.
So when we saw this game at RingCon in Tucson, which is a convention in Tucson, I was able to see how good of a game it was. I didn't even have to play it. I just observed it.
That's right. We walked by and you were just like, oh my gosh, this is a good game.
And we bought it when we got home.
Yeah, we did.
And you'll see that we actually got 2 copies of the Deluxe Edition. That's how much we liked it. So let's take a look at how you play real quick. So it is an abstract game. It's kind of a race game because you're trying to, the first player to place 2 of their buildings type wins. So you have huts, temples, and towers. And so if a player is able to place all their huts and temples, they win, or place, any 2 of these 3 type. Now let's say the game ends and no player, and the way the game ends is that all players have placed their tiles. So in a 2-player game, each person would have 24 tiles. And you would divide that up if it's a 3 or 4-player game. So let's say, though, in a 2-player game, or any player game for that matter, whoever's placed the most temples will win. So let's say I place 2 of my temples, but Julie, let's say, also placed 2 of her temples. But then you look at the next building type, and if I placed a tower and Julie had not placed a tower, I would win. So it goes temples first, then towers, then huts. So if we both placed 2 temples and a tower and I placed most of my huts, then I would win.
Right.
But again, it won't matter. The game can end prematurely. Let's say we've placed all these tiles, and if I placed all my huts and temples, I would win the game. So that's the victory conditions. So what do? On your first turn, you'll flip up a tile, and you must always place a building. And you can only place temples when you have at least 3 huts, and again I'm just simulating here, if you have at least 3 huts in a community. And a community is when you have huts that are adjacent to each other. So because I have 3 huts adjacent to each other, I could, on my next play, say this is my next play, place a temple here or here. Now you cannot place on these volcanoes. Now how do you place towers? Well, you have to have, this is what's cool about it, you can stack things. So you have to have terrain that's at least 3 high. And notice that you cannot overlay them directly on top of each other. The lava always has to flow in a different direction. So I'm only 2 high there. Again, I would have to go here. Again, I'm just showing you what it looks like. Notice I'm not overlaying it exactly. It has to go, the lava has to go in a different direction. So it takes a little bit to build it up to a, actually this would be better. Right here.
There you go. Oh no, you need to turn that.
Yeah, I know. See, this is why it's hard.
Oh,
it's just
shoot.
It's not that easy.
There you
to do.
go.
No, it doesn't matter.
Oh no, it won't matter.
I
Darn.
would have to build it over here. Let me try this again here. This is why it's not easy to place temples, because you'll see.
That's why it's a reward, so to speak, to get
right.
it.
Now I could do it way over here.
Yes.
All right, so it has to be at least 3 high, the terrain. And notice that the reason why this is deluxe, the pieces are much bigger than the regular edition, and they're much thicker.
Oh, they're great.
And these are bigger too. So now it's 3 high. Now I would have been placing pieces while I'm doing that. So if I had at least 1 hut, I can place a temple on a 3 high. And that's how you do that. Now here's the interesting thing. Every time you place a tile, let's say I did place this down. Only time that you can only place a hut on a level 1 when you're starting a new community. So if I already had one here, when I put this down, I can expand into a new terrain type. So I'm expanding, and if I expand into here, I can place 3 huts because it's 3 high. Or I can expand into this and place it 2 high. Now another rule is see what's next to the hut here. I have 2 waters. You can select, when you expand, you say, I'm going to expand into water. So I can put 3 here and 2 here because they're the same terrain type. So let's say I've already done that. Next turn, I draw a new tile, and I put this down, and I want to continue expanding. I can say I want to expand into forests. So I can put 2 here and 1 here. And the next turn, I can place all the way over here, and I can put a hut anywhere I want as long as it's on a level 1. Let's say I'm done with that community. So I can put it over there. Or, since temples are used to break ties, I'm sorry, the building that will be used if a player doesn't get rid of 2 building types, I can put my temple in either one of these, because it's except the volcano, which is adjacent. Now, there's another rule that this is where the game can get a little mean. So white is expanding into here, and I know they're getting ready to build. I'm trying to think of a good way to do this here. Getting ready to, geez, what's a good way? Here we go. No, I have to set this up right. And again, we're just doing this on the fly here. I'll do this. Here we go. I'll remove that.
Oh, there you go.
So white is getting ready to, they have 3 huts, so that I know they can build a temple on their next turn. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to eliminate 2 of their huts to slow them down. And you can do that. You cannot destroy a community, though. So let's say white was right here. I cannot destroy a whole community. I can't do that and eliminate it. So I can eliminate one of them or both of them. So that's where the game comes in, where some of the strategies that you can expand. You can place a tile to slow someone down. It's also a strategy to divide your community on purpose. So let's say I have a temple here, and if I'm able to somehow divide, to break this up, see how this is all connected here? And if I place this down, now I've split it, which gives me a head start here to try to get a temple over here. If I hadn't split it, you can only add a temple to one community. So that's where some of the strategy comes in. So again, the basic mechanic is you place a tile and you must place a building. If you cannot place a building on your turn of any type, for whatever reason you're blocked, you lose the game.
Story of my life.
So that's happened a couple times.
This is such a frustrating game.
Think about the game.
Okay.
So let's look at the playthrough.
Okay.
And we had a couple friends over who we taught this game to here. So here I am starting out. Notice you always have to place a building. I placed the first tile. Julie's going. She's yellow. And again, how you position volcanoes next to each other is a strategic way to try to protect your settlement. So that way people doesn't take out your buildings.
Now our friend Amanda's going.
Yeah, so now we're teaching this game to them the first time. So they're not quite catching on at first, the strategy. And I said, you'll learn it. Oh, by the way, I should point out, we're playing a double set. So we're playing 2 deluxe editions.
True.
So Anthony just placed his tile. So now I have a choice. I can add to my current settlement, or I can go somewhere else and start a new settlement.
I think Anthony, he picked up on this pretty fast, though.
Well, he got it about 3/4 through. It was a little weird to get to understand the strategy.
Well, it's hard.
So here I am. I'm overlapping because they don't know it, but I'm going to try to place all my towers and huts. I'm pretty much not going to go for temples at all. So notice I put it right. I rose the land. I put a volcano on top of another volcano, and I expanded into the fields. And that's why, because it was a level 2 field, that I was able to place 2 huts. And then Julie says, I'm going to expand into water. And that's why she was able to place 2 huts. So now she's 1 turn away from getting a temple. And I'm telling Amanda that, look, you may want to slow her down so she cannot place the temple.
And she does.
And she does. So she slows her down, and that gives her the opportunity to place 2 huts into the fields like I did. Now Anthony's going to go.
Yep. And he's trying to figure out where he thinks he might want to go. He's asking lots of questions, which was fun.
So again, you want to place terrain types next to each other so that you can expand quickly. So I told him that you could expand into the forest to place 2 huts there. And he's thinking about it, and that's what he's going to do.
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah. So if we fast forward here a little bit, let's see how the game's developing here, because again, we're playing a double set. So you can see that Amanda built a temple because she had 3 huts in her community.
Mm-hmm.
Julie, you're going to probably do that on your turn because you have, when I say 3 huts, I should say 3 hexes with huts. 3 spaces with huts, not 3 huts. 3 spaces with huts.
That's a good way to do it.
And Anthony can build a temple, but he hasn't done it yet.
Oh, no, there we go.
Now she just placed her temple. And a temple can go on a first level, second level, or third level. And by the way, you can build mountains as high as 4 or 5 levels.
We've never done that, though, have we?
I think we have done 4 levels.
Did we?
Before. Yeah. And one thing, you cannot destroy temples or towers.
Right.
You can only destroy huts with raising the terrain. So Amanda's there. She's thinking of adding to her existing community.
Or she's probably going to put her... Oh, she is doing huts.
Yep. She's
that was smart,
she's adding to it.
Why don't you go towards the end?
So she expanded into the forest, and that's why she was able to place 2 on a level 2 forest and a hut on a level 1 forest.
Right.
And I'm telling Anthony that if he expands into the forest, he can place 3 huts if he's trying to get rid of all of his huts. Because again, we're playing a double game, a double-sized game. So let's see how it looks further along. See how the game is expanding. And you see how I've only placed 1 temple. And eventually I'm going for temples.
Right.
Not temples, I'm sorry, towers.
Towers.
So Amanda started a new community over here. Julie, you started a new community over here.
Yes.
And again, we're teaching the game till we're explaining their options. Here again, I'm skipping ahead. So with a double set, you can see the game gets quite large.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, so let's talk about why we like the game.
Okay. I think we should do that.
Let me get to the next slide here.
Okie dokie.
All right, so what do you like about the game, Julie?
Well, as you mentioned when you were describing the game, the pieces, they're just fantastic. They're thick, they're easy to handle, the wood pieces are nice, and they're good. I really like them. They're nice to feel in my hands. Also, it never plays the same game twice, no matter if it's just the 3 of us playing or all our friends playing, because everything grows differently, and I think that makes it more fun and also challenging. Mm-hmm. And it is hard to master, especially if you struggle with abstract games like I do. It can be frustrating, but it is fun. It just can be frustrating. And for me, it's just extremely hard for me to ever win, especially when I play against you and David Jr., because they pound me. They see things 3 or 4 steps before I even see it.
Right.
And that.
So you're a good sport about it. You play anyway.
Of course I'll play.
David does. He's probably won about as many times as I did.
He dominates this
game.
Very,
very competitive. So let's take a look at what I like about it.
Alrighty.
So it's very strategic race abstract game. So in other words, you're racing to get rid of 2 building types, or to place as many temples in a second building type, just in case the game ends before a person meets the victory conditions. Mm-hmm. So that's the long-term goal, but it's very tactical. You have to make choices. Am I going to go for towers, temples, or try to get all my huts, or am I going to place a tile to slow someone else down and destroy their huts? So that's where it's sufficient player interaction, because you can place tiles in a way to slow someone down. Mm-hmm. And the pieces are very tactile. The wood is nice. Again, this is the deluxe edition. The pieces are much bigger. And so it can be a little mean slowing somebody down. But it's not a minus for me. It's just something to consider. It's not too mean. So.
No, but it can be mean if you're knocking people off and you're laughing while you do it. And that has happened to me. But
So one thing I didn't mention is that you wouldn't play a double set, but you
right.
can play with a board here.
right.
And the board, basically, you have to place tiles within. Let me go to this main screen. You got to place tiles within this area. And you can't go on to the beach here. So we've had a game, for instance, where it ends when somebody cannot place a tile.
That's right.
So we have, and this is an easier board here. It's much bigger.
I like this. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't play with the board, which limits how much you expand the game. So
Right.
and there's a couple other expansions. They have boats and some double volcano tiles, which we haven't really
tried
played
yet.
with much.
No.
So let's take a look at how we rate it.
Okay. Wow,
Julie, you
gave
rated
it a
it.
10. I did a 7. Mainly, as I said before, it's frustrating for me, and it gets a little, not so much fun when you know you're going to play a game and you're going to lose again. So, I mean, I will play it because, again, it's spending time with you and the boys or friends, and I enjoy that part of it. But it is kind of like, I'm going to play this, and I know I'm going to get my butt kicked again. But
Well, again, you're a good sport about it because we
thank
played
you.
it 32 times since October 6th. So that tells you how much we like it.
and I've won zero
No,
times.
I think you've won once or twice.
I don't
but
know.
that shows why you're a good sport because you'll still play it with us.
Oh, sure.
But that's why I rated it 10 because this is probably one of my favorite abstract games. If I had to rank abstract games, it's probably could be top 1, top 2, or top 3. And eventually we'll
Yeah,
do that.
you really do like it.
But and so does my son David because he's very competitive in this. He'll win as much as I will. And again, Julie is
Yeah.
a good sport about it.
They play with me just so I can, give them some comedy and some laughter when they're all seriousness and
Well,
yeah.
we've had to give you pointers because sometimes
Yep.
you're just expanding. Like, and we'll ask you, what's your goal?
And I'll be like, I don't know, trying to
Yeah.
get rid of these things.
So, but you've gotten better at it. But at first, it's like, are you going for huts? Or are you trying to go for temples or for towers? But again, Julie's gotten better. All right, so that's Taluva Deluxe Edition, and you saw us playing a double set. That's how much we like it.
Yep.
So we're going to go on to the next game here in just a moment.
Woohoo!